Happy 2021, everyone, and welcome back to the Virtual Collage Jam. I hope...
Collage Jam.
Sorry. Hello, Kim. More on her in a moment. Yeah, no worries. There will be a few little glitches and nervousnesses as we get back in the swing of things, but welcome to the new year. I hope you had an excellent holiday, such as it is, with lockdowns definitely in the GTA and lots of other places now, which is what inspired Virtual Collage Jam in the first place. We instituted, Kim Lee Co and I, more on her in a minute, instituted our 2 live YouTube events shortly after lockdown the first time as a way of creating community, a way in which to connect while we're stuck at home. When we can't be going to our studios and spending time together, we can spend it virtually. So, and hello, Kirk and Rebecca. How are you? Yes, we did have a nice holiday. Thank you very much. I hope you guys did too. And so if you are joining us for the first time, I'm going to talk just a little bit about what Virtual Collage Jam is. I realize. But it is every other week. It interleaves. The opposite weeks are Kim Lee Co.'s virtual studio party. And so same time, Monday at 2, either on her channel or on mine. And depending on the event. Depending on the event, exactly. Yeah. And generally speaking, we moderate the chat for each other. So, Virtual Collage Jam has a weekly prompt every time we do it, and that is completely optional. Lots of artists I find like to have a starting place. Even if it just launches them off in a completely different direction, it gives them something to hang on to. And I'm definitely one of those people. If you give me carte blanche, I'll have a white sheet, carte blanche, at the end of my collaging session. But if you say, here, Cal, start with this, I say, oh, okay, I can do that. Do, right? So, so that is the purpose of the prompt. And the other great thing about the prompt relates to the fact that Virtual Collage Jam has a private Facebook group. Anyone can join. You just have to say that just have to apply to join on Facebook. And I will put a link to that in the description to this YouTube video at the end. And everyone can post their collages there. And it's always cool to see when you've got a dozen artists or more who have all used the same prompt as a starting place, and to see all the different directions that we go. So I think that is pretty much everything I need to say about the jam. And I am going to now talk just a very little bit about, and I can see Kim's going to relay your comments to me shortly. I can see they're coming in, so thank you, everybody.
I'll only be here for a short
time. Yeah. So Kim is going to get us rolling, but she is under the weather today, so she is going to be with us for the first few minutes, right, Kim?
Yeah.
And then she's going to bow out. So I will do my best to collage chat and watch the chat all at once, but excuse me,
always a big flurry at the beginning.
Walking and chewing gum for me is challenging. So those 3 things, I'll do my best. You know I will. So today's prompt is to use this image from now I'm not sure which of those is a first name and a last name. And I probably won't pronounce it correctly, Karatonova Antonina. So probably Antonina is the first name, but I'm guessing. And it is a royalty-free image, and it was posted by Paris Collage Collective. ParisCollageCollective.com is a website and a collage community based in Paris, but international in scope. And it was founded in 2018 by, you'll see me looking down on my notes every so often, Petra Zerner who is a writer, graphic designer, and collagist. And she has some help from Alyssa Salzberg and Francesca Matsukato. And they're very well organized. It's a very well put together little site. They have these images put up for the whole year already, one a week. And you can use it in any which way. They're very inclusive. You can use it in mixed media. You can use it digitally. You can use it analog, whatever way you like. And you post it on Instagram with the hashtag of. They have a couple of different hashtags. There are two hashtags: Paris Collage Collective, and I'll put these in the description at the end of this stream. Paris Collage Collective for general collages, and Paris Collage Club for the weekly challenges like this is, like where there's, this is the image of the week. You do a collage with it, you post it, and they'll feature it in their Instagram streams. So their website is great. It's got a whole bunch of collage artist interviews, which is great in what they call their magazine, but it's a blog. And there's one. They have an artist directory. Everything is free with them, but if you contribute, they're always happy to have contributions, like anyone who's doing stuff like this, right? They have a directory of collage artists available to those people who are contributors. So financially. So just a couple of things about them. They're very much in a. One of the reasons I chose to pick an image from them and to give them a shout out is they're very much in the same vein of thought as I am about creativity and art. So these are a few things they say on their website. Paris Collage Collective wants to connect both local and global artists on a more personal level than what is possible on social media platforms alone. Through collaborations and creative projects, we want to build meaningful connections between like-minded people that go further than likes and shares. It's open to everyone, not members, and it's not invitation-based. The people behind Paris Collage Collective live in Paris, hence the name, but welcome all kinds of creatives from all walks of life and all corners of the world, not only collage or mixed media artists. They believe in mutual respect and support, giving credit where credit is due, always, diversity and openness, and authenticity, and they believe in creativity as a journey and learning with and from each other. And I couldn't have written what I want to be, what my thing to be. I might steal some of that myself, because very much in alignment. So.
It's been busy.
Why don't you pass along some of the lovely chat,
As
Kim?
I've said in the comments, it's a brand new year here at the Virtual Collage Jam. So even though saying Happy New Year in other contexts might feel a little off,
a little past it.
Perfectly right. Mm-hmm. So you already said hi to Kirk and Rebecca.
I did.
Val is here.
Hey, Val.
Mira.
Hey, Mira.
She says, hello, muses. That's very nice.
Hello,
Mira.
Muse. Right back at you.
Our privilege to be
Yeah, exactly.
Marion Stevens says she's happy.
Hey, Marion. Great to see you. Wow.
Rena,
virtually.
I'm saying see you. They know what I mean.
Yeah.
Rena Gottesman.
Hey, Rena.
Jane Laster.
Hey, Jane. We got a bunch of the usual suspects, which is great.
Joy is here all the way
Joy,
from the left
Salt Spring.
coast.
Yeah, our Salt Spring Island refugee.
Stacy Sinclair.
Hey, Stacy. I'm so glad you could make it. That's great.
Marion Stevens.
Yes.
Wishing a happy new year.
Happy New Year.
I'm skipping over it a little bit, but people are saying they're happy to be back. Joy said, missed you both so much, which is really sweet. Joy.
Likewise. You sent us some lovely emails, by the way. Thank you. They were great. Yeah, touched our hearts.
Jane is concerned since you mentioned that I'm under the weather. No, I don't believe I have the dreaded virus.
No.
I've just found out today that this is known as Blue Monday, the third Monday in January, which is, although how could it be the 3rd if it's January 18th?
Yeah,
anyway,
no,
it's
can't
not,
be.
so maybe it's next week. But anyway, someone was saying that it's generally known as the lowest energy day of the year.
Right. January is can be a low ebb time for sure, right? You've got the holidays, not that they were as extensive this year by any means, but there is definitely a letdown, and then after that, and then there's like, at least where we are, our latitude, we've got the low light. So yeah.
Although for all the people on Facebook who were concerned I wasn't getting enough daylight, I used the daylight photo lights, which you're seeing Cal buy. To help with that. Let me see. Marion Stevens adds, I think she cut herself off prematurely. She said, "Thanks so much. Good to join you. You are both the best." Aw.
No, we're so grateful for such a great community. We couldn't and wouldn't be interested in doing this without you guys. I mean, you guys make it. So yeah.
And Jane apparently has a virus, not COVID.
Oh, good.
But nasty enough.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
We have a friend who's been off work for months because of a terrible virus, and she has asthma, and they collided in a way that was pretty devastating. So I hope you get better really soon, Jane.
Yeah. Hopefully you're well enough to at least in a comfortable chair do a little bit of gentle collaging with us, I hope.
Yeah.
But if not, you can just hang out and chat, right? Or not chat, just listen in, because like,
don't do anything.
One of the good things about being sick and having a virtual event is, you don't have to drag yourself out to it. You can sort of sit back in a nice, comfortable reclining position and still be here, right? So
your hot water bottle.
Yeah, exactly, and your lots of fluids, right?
Cherie.
Hey, Cherie.
Happy New
Yay.
Year. And Ricky's here.
Hey, Ricky, our Philadelphia contingent. Good to see you.
I said, so glad she could make it, even though I know she must be busy counting down the hours. She said, good to be back. Hope our time off was good and productive, and you were successful in your bid to do the artwork at the hotel. Yeah, no,
neither of us got it.
Some friends of ours have gotten it.
Fortunately, a few friends we know got rooms, which is great.
They were shocked at how many applications they got.
There were 20 rooms, and I think they had over 400 applications.
500.
Over 500. Okay, sorry. So if anyone knows Cole Swanson, he got one that we
and Lois Schklar.
Lois Schklar, who is one of Kim's members at the Redhead Collective.
Redhead,
So we do know some people who got it, which is great.
Else I know, too,
right. Yeah.
Judy Nugent.
Hey, Judy. Welcome back.
So glad you could join us, Judy.
That's great. Yay.
Pat Temple.
Hey, Pat.
Which is actually, it's Elaine and Laney. Pat Temple's YouTube account seems to be the default. So,
okay.
On the computer they're on. So nice you could be here, Elaine.
Yeah.
It's Elaine Windsor, probably.
Yeah, Laney is what she goes by, right?
Oh, okay.
Right? Yeah.
I didn't know that. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
We had
Welcome
a student
back.
named Laney. That's why I was
that's
confused,
same one. Yeah.
And Peggy Ann Budd is
here.
Hey,
Peggy.
Hey. Nice.
Welcome back.
Cherie says, if it's Blue Monday today, let's add some red and have a purple day instead.
That sounds
good.
In fact, it's pretty funny because Kim is not that she's on camera, but she's dressed in blue today. So
yes, I have 2 shades of blue.
Yep. It's your Argonaut roots, right?
Kind of a cerulean and a blue violet, ultramarine maybe.
Yes.
Jane says, thanks guys, I'm in bed, no collage, just hanging, and hopefully can stay with you till the end, but may sign off.
Of course.
Understandable.
Just
enjoy what you can.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Enjoy what you can, how you can, right? Exactly.
So Lainey says, I love this cutting, fiddling while I listen to Collage Community Radio. It's so great to be back.
Oh, I think we might have to change the name. Collage Community Radio, yeah.
It is a bit like that, isn't it?
Yeah. Not that we're national, but National Public Collage or
that would be fun.
Yeah.
It makes me think of morning shows I listened to when I was younger.
Oh, yeah.
While getting ready for days. Joy says the days are getting longer, sending you healing hugs and sunshine to get better.
It is. I've been watching the on our weather apps where the sun rises just a little, a hair later each day, and it's like so.
Anne Lakoff says, so good to
Anne.
you this afternoon.
Yeah.
What an intriguing prompt for the collage today.
Oh yeah, I think it is an intriguing prompt, isn't it? It lends itself to narrative. Like it looks like someone saying farewell, or over here. There's definitely a dramatic flair to that wave, isn't there? And then the setting is evocative. The setting is evocative. Black and white is often evocative, right? Because it kind of puts it in, even though it might be completely contemporary, it puts a sort of a historical feel to it. There's also something I think about that, like that huge proportion of sky. Yeah. I think that gives it
literally space.
Yeah, literally space, exactly. And if it's like this, it's much more intimate, but there's something when you have that amount of space, it makes the person smaller in a bigger world, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's that.
I always think it creates mental space for us looking at it, and therefore opens up more widely and generously for meaning.
Possibilities and meaning. Yeah. Exactly. It's I was looking at it. I haven't done a lot of looking at it. I just the last half hour before going live, I did look at it a little bit and thought it's rich with narrative. And then I noticed that my inclinations were all sort of formal things, like, oh, she's on an angle. There's this nice, interesting angle here. And so we'll see what I do with it. But that's one of the great things, again, that I love about collage, right? Everyone's going to go at it differently. So
I just want to interject.
Of course.
Say that Cherie had mentioned earlier that she found Paris Collage Collective really gets her engine going.
Yeah.
So that was really great. And that Gerda is here.
Hey, Gerda.
She had to sign in again in order to be part of the chat.
Right,
so she was
a
bit delayed in
getting on the chat. Welcome aboard, Gerda. I'm glad you're with us. That's great. And Val, who is one of our collagers and with us today, was the first person I think I saw her tagging Paris Collage Collective, and I thought, oh, what's that? Right. So I took a look, and it's always great to see something really well organized and inclusive, open-ended, all of those great creative type things. So
and didn't she just get featured by one? Was it Paris Collage Collective?
Yeah,
the Edinburgh one?
Yeah. Let us know, Val, where you were featured. I remember that you posting about it, but I can't remember where it was.
Marion says the photo makes me wonder what she is thinking about or looking at.
Mm-hmm.
I'm intrigued by it, but not sure how to represent it by collage. So looking for your inspiration now.
So you can represent it in collage. You can incorporate it in collage. You can take parts of it out.
You can be whimsical about it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Have to
worry about getting it right.
I because I was looking at Paris Collage Collective and they post things ahead, a few people had actually already posted them. And so I thought, I don't want to look at them. No, I do actually. So one that struck me was someone had put a whole bunch of Warhol soup cans, and as if she was reaching up to get them, to get one off the shelf, which I thought was hilarious. So, it can be irreverent, or it can be completely in the spirit, right?
Mira says she's chopping already.
Excellent. I can hear it from from Mississauga.
And Val says it was Paris Collage
Oh, good.
Collective
Yeah,
on Instagram. So
right.
Everybody, if you go to Instagram, you can look for Val's.
Yeah, that's great. Well done, Val. So what I often do when I'm doing something like this is I printed it out a few times, printed it out a couple of times full page, a couple of times half page, and a couple of times smaller, just because sometimes I want to do something small to just get started. I thought that's what I might start with, is just like a little, my collage muscles are a little rusty, so I thought I'd use one of those small ones. But I always find that there is a sort of a scarcity mentality if you just have one, right? It's like suddenly it becomes precious. Like you've only printed it out once, and then like, what if I mess it up? So I always give myself permission to have more to mess it up or try different things. So I'm gonna push you guys back here. Hey, Marg, welcome aboard. You did take a while to find it, but you're there, so that's great. Welcome back. How's the shoulder? Are you getting more limber, I hope? I'm just getting us set up here. And for those of you who may not have been with us right at the start, Kim won't be joining us for the balance of the session. So absolutely type away, but I'm going to be back and forth between reading the chat and doing a little bit of talking and collaging. So how shoulder is great. Okay, yeah, ready to drive. Okay, that's really great. Thank you. I'm so glad, Marg. That's thank goodness, eh?
I'm going to pack it in.
Are you going to pack it in?
To see if there's anything to convey.
I have checked. I think you're all right.
All right.
So.
I saw Marg.
Yep. I saw Marg.
Hi, Marg.
And I'm just gonna get this party started. I'm gonna start cutting. I don't even know why I'm doing this, but I just don't like this glue too high. There we go.
I'll just wave to everybody.
So I am going to start by cutting a few things out of one of them and maybe out from one of them, and then just start riffing. I've got my usual little stack of colored drawers here. Brought that in from my studio, so that's good. And a few magazines are near at hand, so I'm just going to see where it goes from here. First thing I thought I'd try, which is kind of wacky, but is to cut out the water and leave everything else, and then maybe slip other things beneath to see if that sparks any thoughts. Is it just me, or is the positioning of the birds in this photo funny? The way they're, they just happen to be under her arm like that. You'd expect them to be higher in the sky, but probably there's some opportunity there to play with what they're doing. So I'm curious what you're using. What if you've had any thoughts about how you might go about this? What your plan of attack is, or where you're going to start? And obviously, you're going to be working with the image, unless you're not. It's always optional, but yeah, I'll definitely pass that along, Ricky, to Kim, and likewise Pat. So. Was Pat someone else? Is Pat Laney? Yes, I think so. Yeah, sorry. Just getting up to speed. The old brain is not quite not quite in full swing yet, but like first class starts this week, so I better get it happening, eh? Great way to warm up is hanging out with you guys and doing a little cut and paste therapy. There's something kind of soothing about cutting something out because you sort of know what you're doing. Not that I know what I'm doing in a lot of other artistic respects, but when you're cutting something out, you sort of, you know what the mission is, right? So it's actually a nice way to just warm up to something, even if I don't end up using it in the way that I thought I would. I'm a big fan of like gentle warm-ups, you know? Something like with painting, I love painting grounds to get started. It can just be just a solid color, or maybe it's just a texture, but what it is it's something that gets me warming up without having to think and make the big decisions right away, right? Which is great. And so cutting something out is much the same. Although I'm noticing my blade is dull. I think I need a fresh blade. There we go. Yeah, the folds in the folds in the dress are amazing, actually. Very nice. Yeah, and so Anne has done the same thing, made us several copies, so we'll see what happens. And Kirk, no surprise. Oh, wait, Kirk is embroidering. All right, so moved on from the cross stitch for the moment, and you're cutting out the figure. Yeah, exactly. And you don't need to know where it's going just yet, right? So. Neither do I. One thing I did notice, and I tend to think this way, but I guess it's my design background, whatever. But when I was looking at talking and walking and chewing gum, just made a miscut. Oh well. One of the first things I noticed about the image was the way she was on this angle. And then, so who knows, that might factor into whatever I end up doing with it. All right, so that's kind of fun. Another thing is obviously replacing that sky with something else would be kind of interesting. With her hand sticking up into it. Maybe I'll try that on one of my smaller ones, so I preserve one bigger one in case I need a bigger one. Maybe I'll do it on one of these mid-size ones. I'm a little out of practice for chatting. Been relatively quiet at home for the last little while. So forgive me if there are the occasional lapse of chatting. What did anyone do anything interesting or innovative or clever with the way you celebrated the holidays? We did Ours were pretty low key, like a lot of people's, I'm sure. But we did end up driving a few Christmas presents to people, and then to near family, and then having a little Zoom dinner, which was surreal. But there was a moment there for that when I forgot that's, I was just engaged in the conversation, and I forgot that we were in different cities and different tables. So it's not the same, but it was certainly better than nothing. Yes. So Cherie says she likes to warm up digitally, and that's a great idea, because it allows you to. Digital is so forgiving in terms of you can move things around, you can undo, you can turn layers on and off. So it gives you lots of options that are. There's a term they use digitally saying non-destructive, right? Because you can keep the original and not damage it if you do things properly. So that's a really useful benefit of working digitally. Sometimes it allows you to try lots of different things quickly and easily. And I know Cherie is someone who's glue phobic, right? But if I glue it down, then I won't be able to move it again. And Ricky says her holidays were far from low key. Yeah, anyone in the U.S., no one in the U.S. had a low key holiday. No, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, so that is true. And I'm sorry. Yes, if we were looking at the news, we weren't feeling low key, but it is at that 1 degree of remove for us, for which we're thankful, but we're also really sorry for you. That's anyone in the U.S. is struggling with all of that. But maybe she's waving goodbye to Trump. Except she's not grinning widely enough as she does it. She's looking sort of wistful and fondly. So it wasn't Trump. I was just thinking, I wonder if she's doing the backstroke. She isn't. Yeah, Val says that Christmas was so strange. It felt like we haven't had it yet. I agree. Joy from the West Coast says, life at home here alone, my monastic period of life. So collaging is welcoming. Oh, good. Yes. I hope being alone over the holidays wasn't too bad. But welcome back to the collage fold. I'm glad you're laughing, Ricky. That's good, because yeah, what else can you do, right? Anyone who's taken courses with me knows that I am almost pathologically fond of getting several things started, so that you don't get too invested in one of them. When you put all your eggs in one basket, you sort of have too much Now it can backfire, right? I have a lot of unfinished pieces. But sometimes when you try and figure out the one piece, you get stale, and then you end up doing things that that might not have been the best. And nothing wrong with that, right? It's just paper. But I like getting a few different starts to see what might happen. And so I'm following along that idea right now. I'm starting my third, and maybe 3 is enough. You think? So I'm going to start 3 and then go back to the one that I started with the first time to try and not have like 15, but not just one either. Oh, my minimalist nature is kicking in and thinking, but that's enough. It isn't enough, Cal. But it's an interesting start. I thought that was an interesting start, sort of a folding the paper to sort of do the sort of zig back from her hand. Hey, Susan, welcome aboard. Joining late is no problem. We're cooking along, and great to have you aboard. She's printed out the figure but hasn't done a thing with it yet. No, exactly. You just got here, right? Cut yourself some slack. Just start cutting, start thinking, start noodling, lay some other things on top of it, see what kind of dialogues you get going, and soon enough, you'll start noticing our opportunities. Rebecca says, we isolated for 2 weeks so we could go to visit our parents, then had a Zoom gathering with Kirk's family. New Year's and your birthday. Oh, cool. We're quiet at home, just the 2 of us. Yeah, it can be, especially if you're good with your partner, as I know you guys are, it can be quite nice, right? The typical holiday season can be just so chaotic in terms of, like, lovely in many respects, but it can wear you down. So staying home can be a rest for sure. And Donna Nickel has joined us. Great. Welcome aboard, Donna. Glad you made it. So yeah, you're here. Everything's good. And Cherie says, if Kim was here, she'd remind us to like the video. Oh dear, you're gonna set yourself up to be the teacher's assistant if you're not careful, Cherie. So Cherie says, don't forget to like the video. Yes, it does help. It does help us, our videos, get noticed by other people. So that's a good thing. Maybe get some additional collagers to join us. So yes, please do. And thank you for the prompt, Cherie. Yeah, so Joy says that being alone stimulates her creativity. And I definitely find that. I was not actually an only son, but de facto, because my one brother was significantly older than I was. So I had a lot of time to myself, and I credit that with sort of being the wellspring of creativity. You know, you get bored and then you go, well, I got to do something. And my parents were supportive of creativity. So I wrote, I drew a lot. I did all kinds of creative things. And I know some people really thrive on, like, the reason cities draw people to them, and there's often this like great foment of creativity and people bouncing off ideas off each other. And some people find that energizing, and some people find it exhausting, and some people sort of somewhere in between, right? And I think I'm the same. I think I mostly like the introvert side, but I also need a little bit of the stimulation of being with others, seeing what others are doing, going to galleries and so on. But yeah, so I think, and it depends on the time of life. Joy says it's her time of life for being more isolated and introspective and creative that way. And that's also true, right? Depending, there's so many ways about it. I know some people get the hell away to get creative, and some people need to immerse to get creative. And so it's all good if it works, right? And hey, Francoise, welcome aboard. Welcome. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Yes, and Francoise Kim is not with us today. She was here just at the beginning, but she's under the weather today, so she sends her regrets and her regards to everybody. Yeah, I'm happy we're back too. Thank you. I'm going to take my tablet, which I can't chat, but I wanted to say hi. Yeah, okay, thanks. So I'll know why we're not hearing from you, but it's really great to have you along, Francoise. So get collaging if you like. And yeah, I know you'll probably have like 5, right? Oh, good. I'm glad you love the. Yeah, see, there she is. I said, you'll probably do 5. And she says, I love that image and doing several versions. So there you go. Yeah, I'm getting a few different versions started as well. And I'm thinking maybe I'm going to do one that is all black and white, one that is color, incorporates some color. We'll see. I'm going to look in my blue drawer. I'm thinking it would be kind of fun to have a sky, kind of a blue sky rather than a not blue sky with a black and white photo of the rest of it. It might be too simple, but it's worth trying. I'm so happy that I got this drawer system, and it's not even up to speed yet, but it has some, I file stuff into it that I might collage with that is in anything that's sort of remotely blue goes in the blue drawer. And it's really great to sort of have that one filter, but then still lots of variety, right? So I've got like textured, it's not showing up that well, textured paper. This was a piece of magazine paper that was painted over with a brush with some blue gray. I've got some just straight shots of blue. So I love that. I know it's going to be blue, but that it could be a range of things. So and I found this, I thought, oh, this is never going to work. But I actually really kind of like the way that looks, because I guess the black that's showing through picks up on, and it's blue painted over a black and white magazine page. So maybe that's what is interesting about it, is that it's also black and white in one respect. So that might be interesting. Oh, and there are people underneath that paint too, which is kind of interesting. So they're kind of just, you don't even notice them at first. So that's kind of fun. That might be an interesting, okay. I think that is enough to tempt me. So many times I agonize too much about like, what's the decision going to be? Is that the perfect thing? And as Kim, if Kim were here, she would say, no such thing as perfect. Go with your instinct. And it's true. So I am going to just go with my instinct, not angst too much. And make a few different goes at this one. thing I'm not sure about is how to glue it down, but I'll figure that out. Oh, I'll glue it down and then I'll trim it. That's the thing. And sorry if that's annoying that I'm just like stream of consciousness talking, but it is what I do, for better or for worse. Has anyone else noticed this? Kim and I have noticed that since lockdown, like this past getting on for a year now, that we have both started talking to ourselves a lot more. Not that we never did it before, but we just do it a lot more now. Like when it helps us sort of organize our thoughts, like, and keep us on track. We both were noticing that we're like, you know, every so often we come into the room and say, sorry, didn't hear it. No, I'm talking to myself. So is anyone else doing that? Elaine says, introverts are not people who dislike people. Introverts are people that build their energy from being alone. Exactly. I love people. And I also love being alone because that's when I can hear my own thoughts. I love hearing other people's thoughts too. But if I'm especially trying to be creative or contemplative, that I need to hear my own thoughts more clearly. Or maybe I'll talk and speak them out loud so that I hear them more clearly. I'm glad you love my stream of consciousness because that's about all I got for you, Susan. So, and Joy says yes all the time, and so she is very isolated. So yeah, and Peggy, oh okay, that's interesting. I'm fascinated. Yeah, the dogs have Val's dogs know all her artistic tricks now because she's talking to them. Yes, about talking to oneself. Colin and I are always saying, are you talking to me? Yeah, exactly. Same here. I talk to the nail hole in my wall. That's hilarious. And Marion is the same, likes being with people, but it can be draining. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, I figured that out. No worries. Draining. Yes. Chat is notorious. Sometimes it'll autocorrect you to the wrong word, or you type the wrong word. Don't worry about it. Yeah. Rebecca says she did a personality test during her psych degree that showed she was 50% introvert and 50% extrovert. And I always find myself on that line. Absolutely. There's a term they use now, ambiverts. Which means you can go both ways. And I think really, if we're honest, most of us are not like slammed to one end or the other, but we may tend to one end or another. But that you're right down the middle like that, Rebecca, that's fascinating. Yeah. Yeah, our pets are great that way, aren't they? Rebecca's saying she talks to her cats like Val talks to her dogs. And yeah, they're not very critical of what we're thinking. Bless them. All right. I'm not sure, but this might be the first glue stick of 2021. Sorry. Might be the first. Oh, probably not. But if you have been looking at my Instagram at all, you've been seeing that I've been working on on illustrations for a book of poetry, and they're black and white collages. And I've been enjoying the fact that I have been doing some of them like absolutely analog collage, cut and paste, and then some of them I've been doing absolutely digitally, completely composed digitally and executed digitally. And then a few of them I've been doing sort of back and forth, which is kind of fun. I find they both have their drawbacks and their advantages. So the guy I'm doing the book for he's very open to lots of different things and encouraging, which is great. Open to my different ideas, which is wonderful. But sometimes one good thing about digital collages, as Cherie will attest as well, is this is just not going to go lie flat. Oh, is it? No. Anyway, with digital collages is you can always go back and edit them, right? You can move the thing afterwards. And so that was one of the reasons why we did so much stuff digitally as graphic designers, right? Because, oh, well, the client doesn't like it this way. It needs to be changed. And if it's been done manually, that can become a real problem. Whereas if it's been done digitally, it's much easier. And sometimes the changes are coming from a client, but sometimes they're coming from yourself, right? You look at it, you think, yeah, that's right. And then you think the next day you look at it and like, no, it needs to be down a bit, or I got one too many elements in there. And so digitally, that's easy to fix. But if it's glued down, it's like, well, you can always glue over, right? There are ways around, of course. But yeah, so I did one that I haven't posted yet, but I sort of built the whole base of several different elements and composed it with my hands, which was fun. You know, it's like, I think these should sort of arc down like this. This should be on this angle. And I glued it down. And then I wanted to put some typography into it. And I thought, okay, well, I could go searching for and cut out the letters that I want. And I started doing that. And I thought, it's too limiting. I need to be able to size it exactly right. Pick the font. You know, that's something as a designer you do a lot. Like, you know which fonts you want and try them out. And so I did that part digitally, and it was great. It was really wonderful to have that sort of flexibility back and forth. And now you're hearing them out loud during COVID. Yes, exactly. My thoughts. So Gerda asks, what software do I use for digital collage? Mostly Photoshop. And I would not say that I am an expert by any means. I have used Photoshop in a very limited capacity for a long time, but there are so many. It's such an extensive program that there's still parts the parts I know compared to what I don't know I know a small amount, and they're huge parts. But Kim is very, very Photoshop savvy. So she, as you know, she teaches that. And so it's great to have her to just say, so I want this kind of effect, and how would I do this? And she's like, okay, well, you do this and this and this. And I think I'm actually going to start taking some of her courses because she knows so much and I know so little. But it is really great working in layers in Photoshop because you can try things like you can put something in, size it, position it, rotate it exactly where you want it. And then you can sort of turn it off and on. Like, what do I think without? Is it better? Better without, better with. Oh, no, I think I need to change its size or position. You can do that. You can turn off effects between layers if you want to have color shifts or transparencies, like have things like this has some opacity, but you can also see through it to any degree that you want. So those things, like the ability to work with different transparencies of elements is really amazing, right? Mostly with paper, if you've got a paper that you can see through somewhat, it's at that transparency. You're not going to be able to like make it less or more unless some of them get more transparent with glue, but there's also this thing that happens when you're too much in your head and too much on the screen and moving a mouse rather than your hands. It gets very, I don't even know what the word is, but it sometimes feels like just such a relief to actually do something with your hands rather than it all happening on a screen. So I think there are pros and cons both ways. So Susan says, one of these days you're going to have to offer a workshop on the ways to create text to incorporate into art. And I'm going to be the first to sign up. Well, thank you. So a few that come to me off the top of my head that might be useful. You can go hunting in magazines for words or letters, right? Or newspapers or any printed materials like your packaging. And sometimes you can get interesting phrases that you would never think to use. So it's kind of like found poetry or found, there can be something interesting about that. But if you know exactly what words you want, but you wanted to collage, not digitally, but just manually, you can just type it into your computer, choose the font, make the size, print it out, and make it a little bigger, a little smaller. So that's a really useful way to do it. If you have a color printer, you have options there, but even black and white is good. Yeah, so those are a few good options. And Susan says, Photoshop Elements has a lot of the same features for a lot less money. Yes, I know Kim has some reservations about Photoshop Elements, but I can't remember what they are. So Cherie says, I go low school. The Pages program on my Mac can manipulate images and you can layer them. Oh, cool. Fast and dirty. Yeah, well, exactly. Like, Photoshop is great, but it's a steep learning curve and it's expensive. So, so yes, if you can, I sometimes use my page layout software to do a collage sometimes because I just need to be able to position things relative to each other and size them, and that can be done in that program. So, yeah. And Gerda has Photoshop Elements, she says, but find that the classes use more advanced versions. Yes, exactly. They're always updating the software. And so staying up to date on software becomes this major challenge. And I am using software from 10 years ago, which is pathetic, I know. But my darling wife keeps up to date. She uses the latest and greatest. And I will have to eventually too. And I'm making it harder for myself because I know the longer I leave it, the harder it's going to get. So that is curving an awful lot. Okay, I'll glue that down once. Maybe I'll flatten it for a minute or two while I work on one of the other ones. I'll probably forget it's under there. Remind me, if I can't find where that collage is, it's under those magazines. All right, this one I was thinking I would do as a black and white somehow. And I like the fact that it's got this fold already. And there's part of me that's like, well, that's enough, but maybe it isn't. So I'm going to try a few things and see. Rebecca says she likes Procreate, and I've heard other people like Procreate as well, Rebecca. Cheaper, has layers, and is art focused. Well, yeah, so that's great, actually. If it does some of the things that you want art to be able to do in art, that's really great, and layers is key. So because my collage project is in black and white, because it's going to be in a book of poetry that's printed black only inside. A bunch of this is my neutrals drawer, which has black, whites, and things that are almost black and white. I've got bits left over from that, and one of them was this sort of negative of a ruler of some kind, and the numbers go the opposite direction, which is kind of fun. Oh no, they don't. Actually, that's just a 10, right? It's just cut off at the 10. But there's something interesting about that, and I was thinking, oh, maybe that'll find its way into my black and white collage. How do you measure longing? With a ruler, of course. Suddenly he went silent because he was, watch out everybody, he's thinking. Never a good sign. I've had students often tell me that they can hear what I'm saying when they're working, which I guess is a mixed blessing. But I was just having some thoughts about what I was doing here, and I could hear Kim because so I sometimes hear one of my influences as well. So I was looking at this image on a busier background, and I was thinking, no, it's too much. This image needs to be quieter. It's more serene. It doesn't need all that. And that's partially my minimalist, but she also says, you've got to interfere with your original style, with your whatever you're using. You have to make it yours. Don't just be stuck with what it was the first time, which she's right, so there's going to be a dance back and forth between that, right? Because if you don't change it enough, where's the you in it, right? You may find it a beautiful image, but that isn't the you except by selection, right? So I sometimes have to give myself a kick to go take it a little further so I don't get too locked into what was great about the original. See how I do with that. Because I'm definitely coming up with ideas right now that are being too reverential of the image. So that's another good reason to do more than one, though, isn't it? Because maybe I often find the first anything I'm doing, right? It needs, I will do some sort of cliche things or some things that just get my energy, I start getting warmed up. And then the next ones are the ones that start to cook a little more. So I'm going to give myself permission to make this one not too off the beaten path. And then we'll see where we go from there. I can always add things on top of it that might take it further, which I may well do. That's interesting. I've got an image that I thought might be interesting with it, and it might be, but it's got the fact that this is printed as full color, but it's black and white, so it's got some warmth to it, whereas my print I printed using only the black cartridge on my printer, so it is a black and white, so the difference is bugging me. I know. Silly, right? But it is, so. That's kind of fun. Hey, Gunta, welcome aboard. If you were here earlier, I'm sorry I missed you, but welcome aboard, Gunta. Yeah, and neither of us got the, oh, sorry, I'm reading two comments at once. So first, Gunta. Yeah, we didn't get the Gladstone, but thank you for asking, Gunta. No, it was a very competitive, I think they had over 500 applications for 20 rooms. And we have some friends who got it, but not for us this time. And then Ricky says, nice, what I just showed. So I'm glad you like that. That's great. Of course, now I'm remembering can't remember what I just showed, but there you go. The ruler maybe, right? Yeah. I think I am going to use the ruler in this one. So. It's funny, you know, I'm looking at it thinking, no, it needs to be simpler. It needs to be simpler. So I will try simpler one too. I have to remind myself that I have options. I can do more than one. Okay, so I always have trouble when I fold things figuring out which part gets glued first. Making trouble for myself. All right, I think that needs to be glued down first. Together. Okay. Had it figured, at least for that part. So I could fold that back so that I can expose that. It goes down to there. It's just like being at home with you guys. I just get to talk to myself. Unlucky you guys. All right. So one thing I'm curious about with when you're using this image, are you using it with other colored things, or are you sticking with black and white, or are you doing something in between? I'd be curious, because with a black and white image, that's always an interesting call, isn't it? Do you use color, or do you stick black and white? Or so let me know in the comments. There's something about sticking with black and white, and there's something about introducing color. That's why I decided I needed more than one option. I wonder. Yeah, but it doesn't look right, does it? It doesn't look right. But maybe it needs a dark background. Oops. All right, so Rebecca says she's using color at least today. And Marion says she likes color, so would introduce color at least minimally for this type of photo. And Val's sticking with black. Oh, black and white and color. Right, cool. I have just found in my neutrals drawer this interesting leftover from something I did earlier, which is just I think it's actually from that Paris Collage, no, the other one, Edinburgh Collage job, a cutout. And I thought, oh, that's kind of interesting. I might abandon it, but I might use that. But that needs a color or some gray underneath it, I think. So let's see what happens with that. Or not. Yeah, it needs to be over there. That's where it needs to be. Accept. It's making things too complicated. Okay. Kim's getting a snack in the kitchen and is laughing at me. I don't blame her.
No, I'm laughing with you, dear.
Can you tell we've been married for a while? She says, no, I'm laughing with you, dear. Bless her. I'm chuckling to myself because my first instinct was to put it on black. And then in looking for the black, I found some other options. So I tried them. And then I finally found my way to black again and looked at it and thought, yeah, that's what I was looking for. But it is also more minimal, which is I am myself sometimes. Sometimes. Ooh, that's kind of fun. Okay, I like that. And the thing that I like, that I was saying, is thinking, okay, I like this as a black because it kind of points out this stagger nicely, which I'm interested in, and the torn edge here. So I placed it on there. Yeah, okay, black. I like black for behind it. And then I thought, oh, I wonder if it should be more vertical and be closer to the edge like that. And I thought, no. But then I did notice something that I liked, which was when this white torn bit with the rope sort of within it goes all the way top to bottom of the black, but then there's black around it. So I think that's kind of neat about having that white go all the way top to bottom. So that is what I'm going to do. Although I'm noticing the rope doesn't go, just the white does. The picture was a bit smaller, but we're going to go with it. We're going to go with it. So I'll just figure out what that position is, and I'm going to commit to that. Hear that, Sherry? I'm going to commit to it. I know, I'm evil. Sorry. R gets crooked. Well, I'll cut it down a little bit after the fact. I will cut it down after the fact, which is good. How am I going to secure this? I think I may just have to wing it. I've noticed I have an inclination often when I'm gluing something down to figure out where it's going to be positioned and then put a little bit of tape on it so that I can flip it open to glue it and then flip it back to the position that I want, which is great in theory, but I've noticed that my green tape, especially with this black paper, will often pull it and that bugs me when it lifts some of the paper. So I'm just going to glue it and then do my best to place it carefully, and then I can always trim it a bit more if I have to after it's glued down. So I do drive myself a little crazy because I still gravitate to precision, even though I know I should be just a little more open than that. So I still like things to be straight, even though I don't like to measure them sometimes. Sometimes I just want to eyeball it and have it be straight. So I'm my own worst enemy sometimes. Yeah, I'll check in with the chat in just a second. See what's up with you guys. I found that interesting about how people were differing on whether in fact no one else was going black and white at the point. Mira, are you doing black and white too, or are you doing adding color in? If it's not straight, it's just tilt your head. Yes, exactly. But it's usually the relationship between something that is straight and something that isn't that I find galling. I think that once I'm done my black and white poetry book, I'm going to be fully really ready for some major chroma. But I do enjoy the simplicity of black and white. It keeps things on a narrow range, like without the color, but you have all the value. So, and it tends to make it about different things, about the images, about the shapes, about the relationships. So that's always interesting. Oh, okay, I'm behind here. Okay, sorry guys. So Marion says, today I'm just watching you, Cal. It's great to see how you try out different layers and images. You're letting the pieces speak to you. I don't do that enough. Yeah, sometimes I will have an idea and I'll sort of force it through, and that can be interesting. But I do try and sort of try and be open at least somewhat. But you know, another thing that's important to remember is I can be open and responsive and so on, but it's still within my range of experience and how I think and so on. So you doing it and me doing it will be different as well, which is great, right? So, but yeah, sort of trying things and listening I think that's one of the things that's great about collage, because when you're drawing or painting, right, you are sort of either you're looking at a reference or you're conjuring it out of imagination, but you have to start from scratch but with collage, you can bring stuff in and then look at it, right? So I think that's the thing that I love about collage is I can bring them down, bring them together, look at them, move them around, and see these things and how they relate, and they talk to me. Whereas, you know, with drawing, well, nothing's talking to me until I've drawn something, then it can talk to me, right? Or same thing with painting, right? So yeah. Thank you, Joy. Yes, no, agree with Marion. And Mira's doing both and a combination. She's doing a black and white, a color, and a combination. That's sounds very much Mira. And oh, Marg has a bright yellow school bus. And is she waving goodbye to the school bus? Waving goodbye to her child? Bye. Don't hurry back. I've got lots to do today. And Elaine says, Marg, I had a bright yellow school bus too. I was toying with her, zooming it through the air. Oh, that's hilarious. That's great. Now, Marg, you may or may not be using this image. I'm not sure, but there. So that's where my head was going. But you may be on a different tangent anyway. So. Let's bring it over here so I can see it a little better. Something I try and remind myself is to progress from the knowns to the unknowns. So I've positioned this the way I have, and I've trimmed it to be reasonably straight top and bottom. And so I was just now I was just looking at like, okay, where do I want to cut it off? And I thought, oh, well, it's way over here. There's kind of interesting how it sort of creates space where she's looking, even though there's that strong white divide there. There's something about having more space over there that makes it more expansive. And then if I cut it something closer, I notice more about sort of the contained within that. And so, and I couldn't come up with an immediate decision. Sometimes it's like, okay, I know. And sometimes I don't. So I'm going to, there's the right phrase and I don't know what it is, but hold that thought and not make that decision just yet. Hold it in abeyance or something. But I do remember that I noticed my ruler, and I did want to put that across the top, down a little bit. So I'm going to just confirm that I still like that, and maybe think about that decision first and figure out the width later. Maybe even just a little later, but not right away. And now I'm moving the ruler around, trying different places, so I'm incorrigible. All right, so I'm not sure where the ruler's going. I'm not sure how wide that's going, so I'm going to put it on the collage back burner. In other words, just aside for the moment, and work on one of my other versions and see what happens with that one, and then come back. Oops. Put it back in the blue drawer, Cal. All right. Oh, I've just made myself laugh, which I figure is a good sign. So with this one, I cut out the space of the water. And so Mr. Literal Cal was like, okay, I'll put some blue underneath. And I thought, what? Come on. Like, at least try something beyond just blue for the ocean. So I thought, okay, let's try something that isn't blue. And immediately I'm much happier because it's less expected. And then I saw a piece I didn't end up using for a collage earlier is this pair of hands with a pair of scissors. And I replaced her hand above the horizon with that. And it made me laugh because it looks like she's waving, but then she's gesturing with this massive hand of scissors. And I thought, yeah, that's fun. Good enough for me. So that's going to be the basis for this next one. And so now the question is how to glue this together. I did mess up on that edge a little bit. It's got a little frayed bit, so what will I do with that? Probably should deal with that now, eh? This is the size that I want. I have another one that big? Or... Yeah, I do. Okay, maybe I should. I'd have to cut it out again. That sounds tedious. All right, because I'm on a mission. So figure this part out, right? Right. Let's just imagine the shore extended just a bit further, make it a little wider, so I can cut off that error. That should solve it, hopefully. I love using a knife and on cutting mats, but every once in a while, your knife, if your cutting mat is well used the way ours is, you'll find your knife will follow one of the cuts that's in it that hasn't healed fully. So that's what happened when I was cutting this out. I was using my ruler, but then I noticed my knife sort of went off the ruler. It's like, rats. But no big deal. Fix that. But then the question here is, how am I going to do this? All right, I think I will glue it down onto that and then trim it, because then it will be stronger. Right, okay, yeah. Stronger is good. I do need that white edge, don't I? Or do I? Well, I can decide to cut it off afterwards, but I do need it. It will make it easier to glue it this way. Sorry, you're hearing all my... I know you said it's all right, so it's good because I'm going to keep saying it, but... And I forgot to put the cap on my glue stick, so it's starting to dry out. And this piece is big enough that I'm not sure I can get glue on all of it without it starting to have dried. So I'm going to do part of it and then roll the other part down afterwards. That's the theory anyway. We'll see how that works. Let's see how that works for you, Cal. Okay. I'm just using really basic, cheap bond paper in my printer. And I'm learning one reason why I might not want to do that is that it expands significantly when expands or contracts. Now I'm not sure which, but it changes dimension with the moisture of the glue. So it's really hard to lay down smoothly. So I normally don't worry too much. I'm very unfussy about materials, but that's a reason to maybe use a slightly better paper than the one I'm using. So live and learn. We have some, bless Kim, she's always finding all kinds of great things at art supply stores and other places. And something she buys a fair bit of, and I should have used for this one, is a sort of a premium bond the normal sort of cheapest photocopy paper is like 20 pound or maybe 22 pound if you're lucky. But this stuff that Kim's been buying is 30 pound or 28 pound, and that makes a significant difference, that additional third. So these collages, I think, are going to be sort of proof of concept rather than the collage that I would like them to be. Yeah. Is that on normal bond paper too? I can't remember. Might be. Anyway, since that hand and scissors are nicely cut out and I'm not that pleased with the way this worked, I'm going to reprint it after the jam and try it again.
You know that it's past time, right?
I did not know that it's past time. Kim came and said you know that it's past time? I didn't. So sorry about that, guys. So that's going to be the idea. And I might tweak it a little bit further. Maybe change the angle of her hand a little bit. But there's something fun about that to me. Like Viva la collage or something. So, yeah. But this paper has disappointed me a bit. You can see it's got some crinkles. And I got yeah, it's actually, you can see the crinkles there rather badly. So try that again with better paper. And I should check in on the comments, because if we're getting close, if we're at the end, I should see what you guys have been saying. Edward Scissors hands. Yeah, that's hilarious. I like the large open sky. It adds to her stretching. Yeah, it does. Exactly. Yeah, I love the blue too, but I wanted to try something that wasn't. Oh, absolutely. Use blue in yours. Come on. Yeah, that was just for me, right? Don't what I say for me does not go for you. That's something I was saying for myself. Ricky had to leave. If you're still here, Ricky, see you later. Thank you so much for coming. If you've already left, I can't remember. I don't know how long ago it was. So, yeah, hope to see you next week. Joy says, like the Statue of Liberty. Yeah. Oh, I do remember the Supertramp album. That was one of my brother's favorites. Yeah. Breakfast in America, right? Jane says, I enjoyed just being an observer only today. Had some ideas before I got sick. We'll carry through at some point, but thanks as always. Hope Kim feels better. And so we hope you feel better too, Jane. Yeah. Get better ASAP. Marg had to go. Doc is making a call. All right. Thanks so much for coming out, Marg, if you're still with us. If you probably aren't, but thank you. And Jane reminded me earlier that it's 3:31. Yes, because I lost track because I was collaging. Just get caught up with the comments and then sign off, guys. Thank you. Might be the last jam for a while as I work Mondays. Oh no, Kirk, that's sad.
I mean, it may be good for him.
Yeah, it may be good. Kim's saying it may be good for him having work. Yes, exactly. But technically working right now, right? Martin Luther King Day. Oh, right. Cool. A timely one for sure, eh? Pop in when your schedule allows. Great. Thank you. Yeah, it is a wonderful community, and thank you guys, you and Rebecca, for being such regular joiners. It's been really great, and I hope you can join as frequently as possible. Still, Kirk. Thanks, Susan. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Looks great. Can you send me pic? I had trouble getting it. I can email it to you. Donna. I will just remind myself to do that, because unless I write it down. And I'm glad you enjoyed it, Marion. Thank you so much. Yeah, me too. I think I've got a few irons in the fire, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you came up with. Thanks so much, Anne. It's been lovely. So I will put so it's on Instagram. That's where Paris Collage Collective likes it. And if it has the hashtag Paris Collage Club, then they'll be able to find it and post it for you. But I'll put those in the description of this jam, so you can find them there. Thanks, Joy. And thanks, Rena. Oh, Rena says she was painting, but that's great. Yeah, it's good to have a little studio company, right, Rena? And we're so glad you can rejoin us. I know it didn't work. Saturdays didn't work for you. Peggy... I scrolled up and I lost my train of thought. Glad you enjoyed it, Peggy. Oh, Val, we're glad to have you back, and we're glad to be back. So yeah, yay. And yeah, I'll pass the wishes along to Kim. A boat on graph paper. Oh, because that's their homepage. But if you look at, I forget what the prompt is, but along the side on their page, they have one for every week of this year under weekly challenges, I think is what it's called, Gerda. So we'll look for that. Lainey says, so great to be back. Yes, it was great to have you back. So looking forward to seeing you next time. Thank you. Thank you, Mira. Thank you, Gunta. Thank you, Joy. So next week, it will be virtual studio party with Kim on her channel, and I'll be with her. And then in 2 weeks' time, it will be back here on my channel for the next collage jam. So, and Kim's is more open-ended. So if you like to collage, she doesn't set a prompt or anything. She just works away on what she's working on and shares it with you. So if you want to just continue with your virtual collage jam stuff, you can definitely do that. And Judy, great, and they're very welcome, Stacy. Sorry, and Judy. Yeah, I hope Kim is better soon too. Yeah, the time does go by fast, Sherry. Thank you, and Rebecca will be here. Yay, holding up the flag for the Niblet Luwal household. So, and we'll see you Wednesday for the class. All right, great. And just to drive by on what I've got ongoing on the fire here. You saw that one, the sort of Statue of Liberty. I'm going to redo that one with better paper. This one, I didn't get any further, but I kind of like it the way it is. This has some faces in it, which I think that might be enough for that one. We'll see. And then this one is still work in progress, but I'm still thinking about where this is going to go. I thought, oh, maybe down. Oops, maybe down the side, but we'll see. And I'm going to try and be better about posting what I try and finish some things and post them. So I'll see you on Facebook, and we'll see you next week with Kim's virtual studio party, and in 2 weeks' time with a virtual collage jam. Thank you, everyone, so much. It's been so much fun. Great to be back, and we'll see you next week or collaging in 2 weeks. Take care.